Hello, everybody. I'm Toby from Bravo Studio, and today I have Anze with me from Calda. Now, Calda is probably the leading solution partner for Bravo Studio. We've been working for Calda quite a long time now, and these guys have really built a huge number of really cool apps using Bravo, and they know the platform really well. And so what we wanted to do today was really sort of have a conversation with them to learn a bit more about how they started, the sort of projects they've been working on, and get some of their experiences with Bravo, but also to kind of see what's coming up next for them. So Anze, welcome. Hi to join you today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Perhaps to start with, do you want to talk a little bit of like you and your team's background? Where it came from. How did you kind of first sort of come across Bravo, and why did you start working with it?
Yeah, sure. We started off, what is it now, 18 months ago, when me and Nicola, who's the co-founder of Calda, had this crazy idea that we will be the ones that will re-innovate the wheel of loyalty programs, because we thought that they're so boring that they're not utilized the way that they could be. And through that, we saw an opportunity of how we would be able to engage with customers through a mobile app. And obviously, we didn't have any experience with mobile app development. None of us is actually neither Nicola nor I are coming from a tech background. So we were looking for a no-code solution, and Bravo Studio obviously came up, and we saw, okay, this looks nice. Let's try to build something. And we had this, we had lots of luck that we were able to create a pilot project with our third co-founder, Istok, who is an owner of local sandwich franchise. And we were able to actually develop this app, and through that we learned lots about Bravo Studio. I always like to tell people, even our employees when they join our team, that we had no experience with mobile development whatsoever. I basically didn't know what an API is and what does it do, but through documentation, through watching YouTube videos, through everything that Bravo Studio offers, we were able to actually build and publish our first app, which was a very proud moment. And during that process, we learned that it's an amazing tool that offers a lot, and this might be a new business model that we can try to replicate and see if there are other companies on the market that might need their apps developed.
Wow. So it's quite a transition, going from your own product to building products for others. So, let's just talk a little about your company. So you started 18 months ago, go with the previous company, and then you then when did you sort of go full time into building apps for others as an agency?
Yeah, so basically, as I said, we started off with a loyalty program idea that we tried to validate on the market. And the beautiful thing of this is that no code development allows you to be quick on the market, and we saw that there is no real traction, that the standard way of doing loyalty programs is still the best, which is why we saw that there is no scalable opportunity here. But through time, we gained enough knowledge to actually become first Bravo experts, which was for us a true breakthrough. Because just being in this community of Bravo experts, we got a couple of leads, a couple of people that they tried to build their own app on Bravo Studio, but either didn't have enough time or were not ready to go through the learning curve. And this is how we actually got our first customers. And then we saw, okay, you know what, we tried to sell something with loyalty programs for the past 8 months and were unsuccessful. But now only in 2 weeks since becoming Bravo experts, we actually have some traction on the market. So obviously there has to be more. And then, from there we just expanded our team, tried to do our best with the development of these apps, and now here we are with 8 employees.
8 employees, that's pretty impressive. So how does that break down? I mean, what sort of skills do you have in the team now?
Yeah, we really try to have as much talent in-house as possible. So we now have we're not even true no-code development agency no more, because we use scalable solutions such as Supabase, which require, obviously some code. So we have 2 backend developers. We have now 3 UI and UX designers, while Nicola will move from working on projects. And then we have a couple of people who are working on the development of the company. So we always tell our customers, any part of the problem that you have, either do you need the whole solution or just, some patches, we have the in-house team that can cover basically anything.
Yeah, I mean, at Bravo Studio, we often get requests for people who want some help. And often I say to people, look, if you need anything built, lots of stuff built fast, Calda's the place to go to get stuff done, because they've got the resources and knowledge to do it. What sort of projects have you had? I mean, can you give an idea of the sort of things that you've had to build or we've been asked to build?
I mean, we had lots of different projects, from simpler solutions in the beginning, where we used truly no-code approach with working with Airtable, and from now being able to build scalable solutions for, building apps that can be used by multiple thousands of users. But yeah, to give you an example, we work with a small team from UK who has a gardening service solution. Then we have a sole entrepreneur from Australia. She has basically a small community of people that follow her for recipes and cooking advices and stuff like that. So basically, it's just from the projects that we've done, it shows how much freedom you have when developing with Bravo Studio, because obviously you can integrate different backend tools and the front end can be built, any way you want it to. So to sum up, a whole variety of things we've done, in the past.
It raises an interesting point. I think, certainly one of the reasons we built Bravo was to give people that flexibility. I mean, when you kind of talk to your clients, what are the things that do they really appreciate in you sort of working, with you on Bravo?
Yeah, I can give you one part of that answer would be what we appreciate working with Bravo Studio, which is, now we've played around with multiple tools, and we still prefer Bravo Studio because it's just amazing. The way that you can save time when developing the front end by just basically clicking one magic button that transfers your Figma design into a fully working front end. It's amazing. And the other advantage that you guys have is the possibility of integrating any backend tool that you want to. So, and this is, answering the question from the perspective of our clients, because sometimes our clients have a prototype needs, sometimes they need to develop the MVP as quickly as possible just to validate their idea, and sometimes they need a scalable solution. And sometimes you might need to integrate Airtable, which is pretty simple and straightforward, but it's not as scalable. And on the other hand, you might need to integrate Supabase, which is super scalable, but obviously not truly no code. So I guess that integration with any backend tool would be something that customers really appreciate. And on the other hand, what is also one of the biggest advantages of working with Bravo Studio is, I would say, the quickness in creating new iterations. Every time during the development, new ideas come up, or the ideas from the past are not working anymore. And in in a development working with Browser Studio, that's not a problem at all, because those changes can be done quickly and they can be published to a new version, very easily. So I would say this is obviously one of the biggest advantages.
So you touched on an interesting point, actually. It's always interesting to we always look at ourselves, comparing to other tools out there. What would you say are the normal tools that you looked at as different from Bravo? And specifically, what would you say that the pros and cons are? Because there's pros and cons to every tool, right? I mean, there's no perfect tool for everything, but you've really invested in Bravo, and it's interesting to see what it has over the competition out there.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest advantage is the possibility to have the importation of Figma, because from our side it saves us so much time, and on the other hand it allows you to have a pixel perfect front end. So basically the way that you design the Figma, the app is gonna look exactly the same. So that's I would say the biggest advantage that you guys hold. And on the other hand, most or some of those tools that we work with don't allow or don't offer as much freedom with integration through an API system, which I would say is obviously very important if you want to build scalable solutions. And on another note, I would say that publication process is probably one of the easiest or the most straightforward. Other tools might make it more difficult, especially for those people that are not as experienced with the whole publication part of the development.
Interesting. Yeah, it's I hear a lot of stuff like that. I think the challenge for us is we're always trying to think about how we can make the process easier for everybody, but it's quite a moving target, really. A lot of things to get right, but it's good you've done.
Sorry to interrupt
Sure.
you. What would you say that are the most important advantages that you guys have?
I mean, a lot of what you say, I would say. I mean, I think really, really the core of what difference about Bravo is that design, the importance of design. I mean, we went with Figma because, the general kind of ethos around how Bravo works is that there's no point doing something that someone has done better. So let's just try and figure out to use the best version of what's there. So, we don't try and build our own design tool. We just integrate with Figma. We don't do notifications. We integrate with OneSignal. We don't do real-time chat. We integrate with Comment Chat. And really it's trying to leverage all these tools we're doing a really good implementation of what's necessary and integrate it to make it easy. And then allow you to connect other things in of your own using APIs. So, you can connect in, if you want to start out small, do something simple, you can just use Airtable. You want to do more complex login and have some logic, then Xano is a great solution. You want to build your complete backend yourself and put it in AWS, then you can do that too. It's really just trying to make sure that, at the end of the day, the core of Bravo is how do we make it easier for people or faster to people get their stuff done, but still giving them that flexibility. A lot of no-code tools are potentially easier, get you something out the door, but it's quite limited. You can't really get your design that you want. You can't get your branding or logo, your fonts in right, and that's super frustrating. And I guess actually the thing that people don't realize in some respects is the way that we work actually gives you the flexibility for the future too. So, when most people build any kind of application, they're building it in Figma, right? Everyone starts at that point. They have a wireframe and they go, okay, now they've got the wireframe, and they might prototype with it, but then they go, okay, now let's build it. And they take it to a dev or someone, try and figure out how to rebuild their design in whatever thing that they're building it in. And the beauty of Bravo is it's done, right? You put some annotations on, you connect it up to some APIs, and it's ready to go. And if you ever need to leave Bravo, if we hit a limitation that we can't solve, even we can do a lot now, you've got your design that you can then take somewhere else. You don't have to then, if you've spent years building in another tool and you need to then take it somewhere else, you have to completely rebuild the whole thing again. Whereas with Bravo, your design is there, right? 80% of the work that you needed for Bravo is useful in any other place that you could go. So it doesn't lock you in. And I think one of the problems with a lot of these no-code tools is they really lock you in. And they say, hey, look, design it in our tool, use our database, you can scale with us forever. And you can, but it's like, it becomes really expensive, or is often a limitation they're not quite good at. And giving you the flexibility to kind of just change your back end by changing some APIs is a really powerful tool. I think really development works best. In fact, progress works best when you're able to kind of optimize, every part of it. And Bravo is trying to help you, give you that flexibility as much as we can, while still enabling you to move quickly without having to learn technical knowledge in 15 different places.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with everything that you said. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I think the biggest challenge we have is doing things like this and getting the word out there. So look, this can actually do incredibly complicated projects now, and with a high fidelity and high sophistication that people don't believe. They go, these no-code tools, they can't do X, Y, Z. And sure, there's limitations, but if you know the product well and you're good, or you use an agency like Calda, you can build some really amazing stuff really fast and much more effectively. I think, one of the things that, I've seen is that people love the fact that they can deliver, a really high quality product at a fraction of the cost, in other ways. In many ways, actually, we see our competition as not as other no-code tools, but actually bespoke development. Bravo isn't, I wouldn't say Bravo is the easiest tool to learn at the moment. We're trying to get it better, but it's, it's not, you're not going to pick it up in 5 seconds. But what it does give you is the ability to iterate and also keep the fidelity of your product. And there's very few no-code tools that can do that as well as we can.
Yeah, and to add to your point, I would say that we are the living proof of what you said, because we started off as as basically two guys that knew nothing about mobile app development, but we still were able to learn Browse Studio. So it's, on one side, it might not be the easiest tool to learn, but if we were able to do it, anyone can if they want to. And on the other hand, now we basically have a fast-growing business built around Browse Studio, and I would say that now we are building much more complicated and much more complex solutions. And I would agree with you there, for sure.
So how is the relationship going? We talk pretty regularly. Does it obviously you're getting a good business. Do you feel like that it's a good partnership?
Yeah, I would say that one of the biggest advantages of being a solutions partner is that is our dedicated Slack channel, because obviously during the development things come up, or either issues that we don't know how to resolve, or maybe sometimes bugs on your side, but your team is working really hard to be as responsive as possible, and we appreciate that. And I would say that is the biggest advantage. And we just talked about the situation when you helped us with but you personally helping us with the solution that we didn't know how to implement. And now we basically, for one of the apps, the loading time was reduced from more than 2 seconds to less than half a second. So this two-way communication of us being able to raise these issues and you guys being on top of that is what I would say is probably the biggest advantage of being a solutions partner.
That's good to hear. So what's next for Calda? What have you got lined up coming up?
What's next? We really try to stay on the top of what these tools that we're working off offer. So we are trying to make sure that each new app that we are developing is better, that we are either on the back end or the front end. We're trying to elevate our services to a new level through the talent that we have in-house. So I would say that just trying to get better, just trying to satisfy our customers as much as possible, and growing with the tools that we're working with. So Browse Studio is obviously the core of that.
So one quick question. What's if you could make us change our roadmap, what would be the feature that you'd like us to make for you the next?
One of the features that I would say is it's probably not like a truly big feature, but it's a cookie that lots of our customers would love to have are radio buttons. I know that we talked about this multiple times. Otherwise, I think that, by integrating the chat in the past couple of weeks, this is an amazing tool, the comment chat, and it brings a lot of added value. But to answer your question, yeah, I don't know. You guys are doing a great job adding new things, I would say. And I'm sure in the future that, new features will allow us to build even better apps.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I think that's all the questions that I have for now. Anze, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. I think I would say that we don't. There's a few people that have applied to be solution partners. We haven't said everybody can come on board, so it's not like it's open for everybody. And Calda have done a really, really good job. They super deliver for all the people we introduced to them. So if you never need anything built with Bravo, where you can have the power of Bravo's connection to Figma, but you want to have them sort of help you build it, Calda is definitely a great recommendation to do that job. So feel free to look at the links connected to this video to contact them, or go to Bravo and we'll do an intro. Definitely recommended from our side. Anyway, Anze, thank you for your time, and let's
thank you,
see
Toby.
what we build next.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.